Just about 13 minutes after the hour of 11 o'clock. Gotta apologize for the late start though. Man versus woman, I tell you. Man versus woman it is. A woman says what?
Woman versus man. You like the Roro. You just like the Roro.
Man versus woman. I gotta put my gender first. I'm representing men. It's up to you if you don't want to put, your gender.
You need to understand that it is always woman versus man. How can it be man versus woman?
I'm eating what do you call it? I forgot the name. But it was made by a woman and it's good.
You didn't. Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's why I didn't give me any because it's made by a woman.
Yeah.
All right, I understand. Okay.
Yeah, it was good. I'm still. Yeah, boy. Yeah. So you see, there's a reason why I said that. I brought that to your attention.
What?
Women are good cooks. They can bake. They can take care of home and family.
Man can't do it.
No, we're not made that way.
Asylum. Be careful when you leave go through that door. You have a group of men waiting on you on the outside to
tap me in the back and say, yeah, man, we need to get that. We need to get that in their head that we were not designed to do the domestic stuff.
Don't tell
we're
men
not
that.
designed to do the domestic
Don't tell
stuff.
men that. That's not true.
That's why what
men choose not to.
We were not designed to cook and clean and wash and all that stuff.
You have men who do that better than even some women.
Yes.
So don't tell me that they weren't designed to do it.
They
choose not to.
And everything that you can think of, there's somebody of the opposite sex that would excel. Kudos to those men that can do that. But on the most part, all right, we were not designed. We were not designed.
No, you weren't. Those of you who can't do it is because you were not trained by your parents to do it.
Okay, so even if that's the case, how you blame me?
I don't blame you. You're just looking for early Roro.
No. I mean, if you know that my mother didn't train me how to wash, cook, and clean, and all that good stuff. Now I'm an adult. How you blame me for not being able to do it?
I'm not blaming
but that's what most women do.
Now you're not designed for it. You are
you work, you come home.
Learn.
You don't have to do nothing around the house.
Well, learn. If you want to learn, I'll teach you.
Maybe make it a fun lesson too.
Do what?
Make it a fun lesson.
Boy.
I'm sure we'll learn. I'm sure we will learn.
What is your example of a fun lesson?
Just spice it up a little bit. If you want to teach me how to clean backs, make it interesting.
What is interesting about cleaning backs?
But I'm saying make it interesting. Don't just say, here's the box, this is what you do.
Asylum.
If you want to teach me how to do the laundry, make it interesting.
How?
I don't know. I don't know.
Wrap you up in some of the sheets and put in the machine along with it.
That's that's murder. But I mean that's the thing though. I mean we expect that people, learning is an everyday thing, right? Some things that you learn stay with you because of the way you learned it.
Exactly.
When lessons are interesting,
that's true.
When they're taught with a lot of love and a lot of passion. You learn with a lot of love and you learn with a lot of passion.
I can agree with you on that.
All right?
Yes.
Same thing. You're at home, you're baking a pie. Call your husband and say, babes, come, let me show you how. Let's do this together.
How many of them are willing to come?
But if it's the way, we're always willing to come. It's the way in which, it's done.
Yeah, there's a right and a wrong way to do it.
Yeah, of course. And if you do it in a manner in which you will catch my attention, of course I want to do it. Then I want to learn how to make big chicken and
let me ask you,
green fig salad. And
so in what manner would your attention be caught?
Everything is different. I must tell you, everything is different, right?
So
it depends on what it is that we're doing. Then whatever it is, whatever method you apply. You gotta be creative. You as a teacher has to be creative. It's the same as school.
I'm talking about you. You see, you're trying to hide behind
I'm willing to
the
learn.
curtains.
I'm willing to learn.
Yes, you're willing to learn.
Way. But the thing is, what makes the bigger impact is the finesse that the teacher puts into it.
I hear you.
You agree with me though?
I hear you. Yeah, true.
All
That.
right. You know, if the teacher's like, even for school, if the teacher's like,
Yes.
okay, 1 plus
That don't work at all.
is 2.
That don't work.
Half the
at
kids,
all.
by the time you say 1 plus, half the kids are asleep already. You've lost their attention.
Yep, that's
You have
true.
to make it interesting.
Uh-huh.
And when it comes to men and women, if you have a husband or a wife that you feel that can do more around the house, don't just quarrel.
But what if you know that the person is just painstakingly lazy and
Well,
just don't want
There's
to
no
do
there's
it?
no real such thing as a lazy person around their house. It's just that some people feel that they work hard, and when they come home, it's their time to just kick back and relax.
Hold
They
on
don't.
a minute.
Hold
You're
on, let me
talking about
let
a
me
lazy-
finish.
there's no
Let
such
me
thing.
finish.
What happened to
Doesn't
you?
mean that they don't realize or they don't recognize that their home needs maintenance, which falls under all brackets, right? Some of them believe, and again, it goes back to the relationship. What's the do's and don'ts of that relationship? Now, wives, if you have a tendency of pampering your husband and allowing him to come home and relax every day, that's what he will do.
Yeah.
Make things around the house fun. Make it interesting. Don't just Sunday morning, go cut the grass. No. Make it fun. Come out. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong, right? I mean, just imagine I'm out there with my weed whacker. And I see the wife on the other side early on a Sunday morning, raking, I'm thinking, boy, I got one real good woman there. Look at that thing. All the other fellas, them out there in the sun by themselves doing their
So
vibe.
if she helps you, that
It could encourage it.
Yeah, that's
As opposed to just saying, do this, do that. All of a sudden
Do it
I'm thinking,
together.
okay, boy,
I agree.
I can't wait till this grass grow back again because we can do something together. The
Yeah.
kids are inside, because guess what? They don't want to come out and help.
Yeah.
That's just maybe a only chance that we've had.
But
together.
Asylum, in most cases though, that may be you, but in most cases, you find that the man want to do the thing himself. He finds it, and a lot of men find it annoying if they're there cutting the grass and the woman comes out there to do anything to help.
Listen, if you come out with the attitude that you ain't doing it right, let me do this part first, that mixes up. That makes a problem. There's some women out there. There's some women who are bossy no matter what it is you're doing, whether you're doing right or wrong. They still want to tell you how, and that's annoying. So a lot of men would rather just not have you come outside because they know that you're not gonna come in a positive light. You're gonna come and try to irritate me and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And sometimes the women are not conscious of it.
Point
It's
taken.
just their nature.
Point taken.
So if you're gonna quarrel with me in the kitchen to clean the oven the
But
way
that
you
should
want
be
it,
fun. That should be fun because
this is exactly what I'm saying.
I find joy in knowing that when I was married, I found joy in knowing that my husband couldn't cook certain things, and I was teaching him how to do it.
And that's the way it's supposed to do.
He's one of the. Oh God!
The other woman
He can cook
the other woman
so
benefiting.
well.
The other woman
Yes.
the other woman benefiting from the.
Oh, yes.
But let's put that aside because that doesn't always that's not always the case.
But trust me,
we are to find more creative ways to do things and do it
Yeah.
together as a couple.
True.
It's our house. It's our yard.
That's true.
Let's come together. Don't just push the man out and expect him to do everything. Yes, you might be busier inside, but you know what you can do? Okay, so I guess what, babes, today we're gonna do an in and out clean. You organize the yard, right? And I would take care of the house. But don't just send him out in the hot sun and don't ever check on him every once in a while. Just
take him some
a glass of
lemonade
sugar
or
water.
something.
That's so romantic, babes. Come out of the sun for a little bit. Take a little break.
Yes.
Drink a couple. Drink a glass of cold juice. I just made that freshly squeezed sour orange.
Yeah.
To just push him out of the house and leave, and he feels like, boy, imagine that you're alone in the hot sun. And I'll tell you, hot son, are you inside the house there? Who knows? You probably don't have how much.
And then the next time around, he's
You know,
going
he
to be
doesn't want
hard
to-
for him
he
to
doesn't
go
want
out
to
there.
do
That's
it.
true. He doesn't want to do. That's true.
So get involved, ladies. There's nothing wrong
and
with
give him a little pat on the shoulder.
you know,
Well
and
done.
then-
You know,
and
that
then
kind of thing.
later on-
Encouraging.
later
Next
on-
time, you don't have to ask
Later
him to
on
do
that
it.
Sunday evening when everybody's in bed, you say, babes, I have a little something special for you because you worked so hard today, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You think he's not going to want to do that again next week? The grass ain't ready to cut yet, but mate's ready with his weed whacker. Let me go. That is what makes it.
Okay, all right.
That is what makes a
So-
relationship.
All right.
And I'm
so-
not saying that the men can't do the same too, you know. Fellas, don't get me wrong. Y'all could, encourage your women a lot more.
Yeah. What's your home doing all day after you come home and see the house clean?
But, come home early every once in a while and say, you know what, I got this. As she walk in the house, you start to cook. You don't have dinner on the fire already. She come in, wait a minute, what's going on there, boy? Return the favor.
I when I was
Sometimes
married,
say
I
to her-
hardly ever cooked.
Say to her, I'm not a big fan of doing laundry and stuff like that, but if I have to, I'll break down if you show me how to, because I've been spoiled all my life where laundries are concerned. I don't think I've ever done a full set of laundry myself. Yeah, I have. I actually have.
For you.
I have. But at the same time, most fellas don't.
Yeah.
Because guess what? To them, it's a boring routine of just putting the stuff in the machine and whatever. Wives, call your husband, say, babes, come here. Help me do laundry, and make it fun. Make it something personal between the two of you.
But
I'm not telling you that,
how many of them, when they say, "Come, babes, come and help me,"
But
how many of them will be willing to do it?
It's the way you approach it. If you know your husband is the type of person who ain't gonna hear you if he say, "Come, let's do the laundry," find a way. Try something different.
Yep.
Maybe even, send the kids away and say, me and you today, we doing laundry. in a little short thing, you know what I mean? Entice him. But that's what we're supposed to have fun in relationships.
Yeah, that's true. That is so true.
And before you know it, he calling you Thursday. Guess what? We're doing laundry again Saturday. Yes, we're doing laundry again. Didn't you wear clothes all week? Am I right?
Yeah.
More fun. Put more fun in the in the thing.
Yeah.
Some of us put.
But then you have those men who you don't even have to say, babes, come do laundry for me. You wake up in the morning, you see clothes on the line.
And these are the guys who already had that treatment already.
Yeah, boy.
So they're anxious. Send you one. Yeah. We heard you. She just prayed. But that's the thing, though. I mean, we ought to get more involved in our relationship.
Yes.
I think some of us are more passionate with things outside of our relationship, i.e., our friends, our phone, social media, and we don't cater enough for our relationship.
We don't nurture our relationship and we expect them to work.
If you're in a relationship and you believe that relationship is where you want to be, women have a saying, "Oh, I'm a slave to my marriage," or "I'm a slave to this house." You would never see yourself that way.
Yeah.
Just imagine, the old way of doing things in terms of trade, barter. It was you have something I want, you have something I want. We exchange it. Never had an equal value added to it. Someone always got more.
Yes, that's true. That is so true.
Someone always got more, and it's the same in a relationship. The man and woman would never ever be treated equally based on what they do for the relationship. Because I do admit
that is a fact.
I do admit that women contribute a hell of a lot to a relationship, a marriage.
Both
I mean,
parties
physically, I think women contribute the most. Emotionally, they contribute the most. There's a lot of men who go to work, come home, and they have it good. Everything's ready for them. Food's there. The bed is made. Sometimes your pajamas even laid out on the bed waiting for you just to have a shower, eat, and go to sleep. Right? Now, in that case, if you're lucky enough to be one of those men, then you have to recognize that woman you have is a special woman.
Yes, and I'm wondering why they don't recognize it when they have it.
Some of them
They'll
do
have
it. It's
and
just
they
our
still
makeup.
have
A lot of times,
problem.
the issue with men is we do not like to pat you in the back or along the way.
But that's wrong.
Every once in a while,
you lose
you
your
will get that.
woman.
Well, that's the thing.
Or lose touch with your woman.
It's just the way we're wired.
See, you
Men
keep
don't
saying
get
that
excited.
The way they're wired.
Men
You have to learn.
Men do not get excited as much as women do over things. But it takes a woman now to really understand that's the way her husband is. Because let's say for instance, all right. You do something, and you in your mind you're thinking, okay, well, boy, my husband's gonna be happy with this, right? And he comes home, and you say, babes, look at the kitchen, something special. You cook a special meal, and he's like, oh, okay, all right, thanks. All of a sudden, the woman is like, really?
Yeah, really, for true.
But you
really?
know that's the type of personality your husband has.
Yeah, but still,
it doesn't mean, because for me, I always tell people that I don't find very few things I find like extremely amusing for some strange reason. Whenever you get okay, out of me, that for most people as a hysterical laugh.
Like me.
But that's just my makeup. That's just who I am. I would not laugh crazy about something. But doesn't mean that the little bit of laugh I laugh would not be equivalent to somebody is falling off of her chair.
Yeah.
But in order to understand that, you have to know me.
Know the person, right? Right. Like that's true. Because I was telling somebody the other day, I don't like to give my daughter gifts.
Right.
Because it's almost like she doesn't have any emotions. Like you give her something, she's happy for the thing, she's
right.
you know,
but you're not seeing it. You yourself are not feeling it.
And she'll look at it and she'll smile and she go put it down like
and you're like,
she say, oh thanks.
Can you imagine that I go all out to get this for you? And
what, girl? Give it on, come on.
But that's just her personality.
Yeah, that's her personality.
It doesn't mean she doesn't appreciate it.
Yes, and that's it. She does appreciate
and more so with men. Men, we're less likely to show emotions when it comes to these things. When a woman would go crazy, oh my God, and call all her friends, if you see my husband just got me.
Come to think of it, when I was a child growing up, my father, whenever it is his birthday, I always go all out to get my dad a gift. And daddy didn't. Nobody else would get daddy a gift, but I would get daddy a gift. Right. And I always notice that whenever I get daddy a gift, we have an entertainment center in the house, and it as soon as you enter the house, you will see it, right. And it's very high, almost to the ceiling. And he would take that gift. He doesn't open he just takes it. When you bring it to him, he'll say, oh, thanks, Sue. And he'll just take the gift and he'll go and put it on top of the shelf.
So you had one for every year?
It was there not every, it wouldn't stay there for a year, but he would put it up there and it would be there for the longest while. And then you see him take it down and he'll open it. On
his own time?
Yes. And I was always like, why did he always doing that?
Also,
but over the years, I've gotten to realize that he appreciates it so much. He puts it on that shelf for everyone. When everybody comes in, they would see it and then they would ask him, what is that about, or whose is that? And then he would say, oh, it's Suzette, give it to me for my birthday. Right,
yeah. And of course, you have the other thing that affects a lot of men is the fact that they were not cuddled a lot. Right. Because we raise our boys, we raise our boys to be rough and tumble. We don't show them a lot of emotion. We don't hug them enough. We don't kiss them enough.
True.
We don't tell them I love you enough. I mean, even to this day, as old as I am, and I was fortunate to have a father who took care of me. I don't end a conversation with my father unless we say, I love you, right? I love you too. Be good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have always had that with my father. Hugs. We always hugged each other. He would always give me a little kiss on the top of my head or wherever. Wow. And we end every conversation with I love you.
Wow.
I do the same with my kids.
A lot of boys, if they were getting that,
and
trust
we would be more
we'd
on
have
the
better
emotional side.
husbands.
And that's what it is.
we'd have
Culture
better-
is really what raised a lot of men into who they are. We don't have a culture of hugging our children,
Yes.
especially fathers.
Yes,
Mothers do it,
yes.
but it's not the same,
Same as a
when a
father.
father
That is so true.
holds the child in his
That
hand
is
and
so
say, you know
true.
what, son, have a good day at school today.
True.
Or when they come home, hey, come here. How was your day? Give me a hug.
That's true.
We have to do these things more. And even today, even with the modern fathers, where we've seen a lot of changes. I mean, now you have fathers that are dropping their kids off to daycare and picking them up on a daily basis. We never used to see these things.
Yeah. And I guess people are now beginning to understand the side effect of it after, because you grew up with without a father being, showing any form of affection or,
then you don't
or
know
emotion.
It. You don't know it.
So, but then as you grew up, you begin to say, to yourself, I don't want this for my son.
The conscious-minded people would say that. There are some people who just, that's ordinary, that's norm.
Yeah.
So my father did it that way, I'll do it that way. But there are some who actually miss that void. And even as children, they miss the void. Because now we're in an age now where we're seeing more and more fathers getting involved in their children's lives.
Yes.
And sometimes kids watch kids. A child see the other one his classmate father picking him up every day, and when he picks him up, he hugs him, he walks away thinking, okay, why doesn't my daddy do that for me?
That's true. That is so true. And then you find that child now begins to resent their father.
Not just even the father, but resent that way of raising a child. So as they grow up, they will always in their mind say, you know what, I would never ever be that way with my children.
Right.
I would never ever be that way with my kids.
Right.
When I have kids, I want to make sure that I'm walking them to school. I want to make sure I do all the things that my father didn't do. Right. And on the other side to that, there are people who feel that's normal. That's normal.
It's a norm for
them. It's
them.
a norm thing. So it's like, my father didn't
that's how it is
hug and
supposed
kiss
to
me.
be.
I'm not going to hug and kiss my kids.
Yeah. They just feel like that's how it is supposed to be.
We have to nurture our children. When we nurture them, the more we nurture them, it's just like a plant. If you go out and you farm your garden, if you don't come back and take care of the weed and take care of them, make sure that they're growing properly, then you would not yield a good crop.
Yep.
You would not yield a good crop.
Ain't that the truth?
So it's the same as kids. I don't want to compare our children to your garden, but the idea here is take care of your children and they'll eventually be able to take care of themselves.
Yep.
And I must warn a lot of, talking to my fellas here, don't think that, I think children are one of the greatest investments that you can make.
That's right.
Once you invest properly though, it doesn't just mean making sure the child has money to go to school and the bus is paid and there's lunch.
Emotionally, psychologically,
you got
every
every which
possible.
Way, you would get good returns.
Yes.
Mind you, there's an old saying though, you made the child, you didn't make its mind. Every once in a while, you find a parent who has done everything they possibly could for their child, and that child turned and went in the opposite direction.
But if given time though, they come right back to their roots.
Because they know it's there. Some of them go through whatever phase they're going through.
Yes.
But that upbringing is there.
Yes, it's there.
Sometimes we as parents put our hands on our head and say that we failed.
Yes.
It's not your fault.
True.
It's not always your fault. As a matter of fact, no parent should blame themselves for any child.
Whatever, right.
Especially when that child gets to an age where they can understand. Right from wrong.
Right.
Just remember though, what you put in, it will come back to you. There are times when you're going to have to say to yourself, well, at least I know I did all I could.
That's right.
To help you.
That's right.
Whatever decisions you make in life that's going to take you down whatever road, it's really up to you to make that decision. Don't blame yourself, parents.
Yep.
And that's it. It's 23 minutes onto the hour, 12 o'clock.
Yep.
Imagine that. We get so caught up sometimes.
Yeah.
But these are some of the things that we have to talk about as people though, because we live it every day. And I'm glad for the opportunity to be able to bring this to the forefront every once in a while. Especially when it affects us as human beings. It affects our neighbors, our friends.
Yes, and society in general.
So it's very important that we do this. Man versus woman. It's 22 minutes on to the hour, and we have a situation.
Yep.
Do the honors.
Yes. Dear Suzette and Asylum.
It's the other way around, I know.
What? This person says Suzette this time. Sorry.
They're just trying
Let
to
me
humor you.
read that again. Dear Suzette.
They're just trying to humor you.
Dear Suzette and Asylum.
Uh-huh.
Oh, hold on. Let me read that again. Dear Suzette and Asylum, my husband and I have been together since we were 16 years old. Wow. Now we are 37 and have a beautiful 18-year-old. A few years ago, we were at an ugly place in our marriage, and I ended up cheating.
Is that the right one? That's the wrong one that you're reading there. I'm sure
we did that one
yes.
last time, right?
Yeah.
Let me see. Yep. This one, I think, right? Okay, right. Okay, so this person says, Dear Asylum and Suzette. Sorry. Okay. My husband and I have been married for almost 6 years now, and we've been together for a total of 12 years. I recently discovered that he has been sneaking around with a woman we both know, who happens to be his co-worker. This woman has been in our house, and our kids have even played together. When I confronted him about his affair, he admitted that he was seeing her, but they were not involved sexually. I find it hard to believe him because I found out that they were taking trips together. Even after I confronted him and we decided to work things out, I discovered that he was still talking to her on the phone before and after work. A part of me wants to believe that he loves me and wants to continue working things out, but I am finding it hard to like someone I love. Sometimes I love him to pieces, and sometimes I am not liking the sight of him. He's very adamant about not seeking marriage counseling. I don't even think he even knows why he cheated in the first place. He claims that nothing is wrong at home. He just wanted to try something new. I find this to be disturbing and offensive at the same time. Please help me. I need advice. Thanks. I love him, but hate him. But hate him.
She loves but hates him. And those are some of the emotions that come across when it comes to, being in a relationship, especially a long-term relationship.
Yes.
Whether it's a marriage or just a relationship in general, where when people step out, all kinds of questions are raised. Is it my fault? Is it something I'm not doing? Something I'm doing too much? What does your woman have that I don't?
Yeah, it does raise that kind of those kinds of questions. And here, but he's saying to her that he just wanted to try something new. That's hurtful.
Well, you see, the thing is, yes, I agree with you that it is, but a lot of us tend to think that after we get married, and everything is routine, and people get bored. Believe it or not, people get bored of their lives. They get bored of doing the same things over and over every day. Routine. It becomes so routine, monotonous. It's like, get up, go to work, come home, eat, sleep.
Yep.
Argue during the night. What are we doing? We have to always remember that people, we as human beings need entertainment.
Right.
And when I say entertainment, I don't mean
go to the fete and all that. No.
We have to always be engaged.
Yes.
Whenever you find someone by themselves, it's because they have lost their mind. We're not designed to be to be left alone. We have to always interact with people.
True.
We have to always have something changed coming towards us.
Yes. And as you say, the routine kind of thing, it makes the relationship begin to get boring.
Some of us have the perfect relationship as far as we are concerned. Everything's good with me and my wife. Everything's good with me and my husband. But we're bored as hell.
Yes, it depends on the individuals. How far are you willing to go to make sure that your marriage works? How far are you willing to go? Because if he's saying that he wanted to try something new, it means, as you say, it's a routine.
To the writer, if you're there, when was the last time you said, babes, let's go to the beach on a Sunday?
Yeah.
Let's go to a river somewhere, find some river somewhere and maybe have a little day out with the family, bring some macabo and boil a little pan and free stones, just something exciting. When was the last time you say, you know what, let's just take a drive on a Sunday down to the south. Let's just do around the island on our own without our friends.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be those things too, because maybe that's not what makes a person, happy. That's not what makes a person have fun. But if you're with the person for so long, you know what the person likes, you know what the person dislikes, right? Try something that you know the person likes, and it doesn't have to be every day. Exactly. Right. And it doesn't have to be every day. The fact that you put it in once or twice per month, it makes the individual feel like, yes, my person that I'm with cares. My person that I'm with wants to be with me.
Look at it this way, right? We are fortunate enough to live on an island that people pay thousands of dollars to come to enjoy what we have.
That's right.
One of the things I hear St. Lucian saying all the time, I don't like the beach. I don't like the beach. I'm not going to the beach. Now, why not?
And the beach is so nice here.
Why not? Go on. You don't have to bathe. You can go and just lay under a palm, a coconut tree or almond tree and just kick back, spread a towel and cover your face with it and just lay there. Call her good morning. All right, so let's get that sorted out. There we go. All right, sorry about that, caller. Yes, caller, go ahead.
Morning, Suzette. Morning, Asylum.
Good morning. Good morning.
How are you?
We're okay. You?
Okay. I'm good. Okay. I listened to the letter, and it does not even sound as if the marriage has a problem.
No, there's no problem.
There is no problem. So, but why would he do it? You know what I think? The other woman made herself available, so the man took advantage.
Okay.
The other woman made herself available, so, the man saying, well, yes, I get a little thing, and then, she take it on her side, and she took advantage of the whole situation. So that's what I think. Now, the last part, the woman said she loves her, but she hates him. I understand that all too clear, right? Because in that, she married a man, and she knows she will stay with him. She hates what he did. Why would he want to cheat on the wife? And because I think the other woman made herself available, so he took advantage. That's my whole take on that.
And that's one of the things about human beings. Whenever people put themselves in a vulnerable position, then you'll be taken advantage of.
Yep.
9 out of 10 times you'll be taken advantage of.
Because he cannot even say what happened, what he did, and he cannot even say that. So.
Yeah, all he had to say was that he wanted to try something different.
But that's what he said. He said he wanted to try something different.
Yeah.
Does that mean that he's not?
Try something different? But in a marriage, you cannot try nothing because you know what a marriage entails.
But you can,
right?
but you have to do it within the marriage. It has to be both husband and wives, and not just the wife waiting for the husband to say, "Let's do this."
One hand can't clap.
No, both of them have to come up with ideas and come up with suggestions and things to do to keep each other entertained.
That's the thing again. When you're married, is the two of y'all, no third wheel.
Not even when you're married alone. When you're in a committed relationship, relationship also.
Right. Yes, right. It's two people, you want to try something new. Well, if you want to try something new, don't leave the person alone, go on to your business.
No, but
you're not ready for commitment.
Also, if you want to try something new, why not tell your wife that babes, let's try something new.
But
You don't have to go look for somebody else to try something
sometimes
new.
it's easier said than done, and it depends on the situation, you know. Because if you've been with somebody for a number of years and you realize that that person has a certain sentiments towards certain things, you're not going to approach them because you know how they feel about it already.
Well, true. That's a fact.
So you're not going to approach them. So what you do, you probably, if you were interested in that and you know the person doesn't like it,
But
then
at
you'll probably
least,
find somebody to do it
talk
with.
to the person. That's your
But it
lifelong
would've
partner.
come
That's
from-
a commitment
Yes,
that
but
you've
it
made
would have
for
come
life.
from years
Speak to the
of
person.
trying or months of trying.
Well, if it was that
Not
case,
everything
if
needs
it
to
was
be
a
said
case
out.
like that, if
Yeah.
it was a case like that,
I'm
why
sure-
would he just up and tell her that he wanted to try something
Yeah,
new?
but that's the thing.
Tell
He's
me
saying
that
to
you
her,
want to try
yeah,
something
but
new. Don't
like I
go
said,
try it with somebody
maybe
else.
it's something that the something he tried is something that she despises or she doesn't like to do.
Well, when,
I-
if you
I know a
that it's
couple-
something she doesn't like
as a
to do,
little boy,
why marry
listen to
her
me.
then if you know that in the long run you're going to want
as a
it?
little boy, right? And different things work for different people. As a little boy, I knew a couple, right? Who, what the husband did, he built a house. He built 2 houses in the yard. One was for the wife and children, and he lived in one. Honestly. He supported both homes. They had everything they need over there. He had everything he need over here. She would come over, spend some time with him. She'd go back to her house. Honestly, I thought it was the craziest thing until I was old enough to understand. As far as he's concerned, right? He's always said always found it hard to live amongst people. It doesn't mean he doesn't love his family, love his children.
Well, then she probably understood that and was willing
So
to.
there you go.
So,
So there you go. So she had no problem with it because she knew that's what he was. That's who he is. That's what he's about.
Well, in a case
And that is
like
coming
this,
from-
though,
Mhm.
in a case like this, though, I can understand what you just said, right? But in a case like this, if you know the person doesn't is not
So-
going to indulge in certain things, right? And you know this is what you want. Why marry the person and then go and cheat
See,
on the person afterwards?
the problem is with marriage is a lot of times when you marry somebody, you don't even know them as much as you really should.
That's
Most
the
people,
next thing again,
when
too.
they get married, they discover so much about each other on the wedding night because they have time to lay there and talk after, they have already had the wedding and had a lot of fun during the day. They lay there and they talk and then, I didn't know that you did that. Yeah.
Me, that's why I like
You
to
know,
ask a lot of questions.
And then from there on, as the years go by, you learn more and more. People, you learn from each other every day, right? But when you get to the point where you stop learning and you stop caring about the things that you've learned about someone,
yes.
it sets them to find people
Yes.
that will.
Right.
And funny enough, there's enough people out there ready to teach or
grab
to show.
and take.
Yes. And that's our problem. Our problem really isn't the problems that we're having in our relationships,
Yeah.
It's the amount of men that are out there ready to take your woman or women that are out there ready to take your man.
That's true.
Because a lot of time...
It shouldn't be so difficult, though, for you to... If two persons love each other, it shouldn't be so difficult for you to want to please that person.
You know, the hardest thing about a lot of relationships is to gain respect from people. For the relationship itself to gain respect.
True that.
And unfortunately, in our culture, people don't really care about you and your relationship. If you have a woman and she looks nice, the fellas then will try to get that as much as they can. They will try every day of the week,
True.
24/7.
That is so true.
And the same goes for women. It's not as open
Yeah.
or as brazen as it is for the men. Fellas will see your wife walking on the street. They know it's your wife. And they calling her by name, Miss Holder. My girl, not now I watch. That's just our society.
That's true.
So you have to defend your relationship against the wolves out there.
Boy.
And then you have your little relationship hiccups
really have a
inside,
task, you
in
know.
between. So it's a tough thing to really be in a marriage or a relationship. It is very tough.
Yeah.
And
And it only goes to show that a relationship takes a lot of work.
A lot of abuse.
And effort.
Yes.
A lot of work and effort. It's not just something that you just go into and it just
People
works itself out.
Most people are not aware of how much work it is to maintain a relationship until they actually get into one. Eh?
Well, for this woman, though, I would advise her to, you know, sit with her husband, talk about, you know, her feelings, talk about how she's feeling now that he has done whatever he did. She's saying that he's not willing to go to any counseling and whatnot. I don't believe that they need to.
Counseling sometimes is not even necessary.
That's what I was just about to say, because
if he has done something wrong and he's you know, heartfelt sorry about what he did, she should know her husband to know enough when he's sorry and when he's not sorry.
But the thing about it too, Asylum, is when they go to the counselors, all the counselors are doing is letting them work their problems out themselves.
In front, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
So they have the answer to
communication.
They know themselves.
Key.
They know their relationship.
Communication is key. Again, and this is the problem that a lot of people have, is that when they say, okay, well, you know what, I forgive you, they don't really forgive.
But that's what's happening here. In order for her to say that I love him, but what she said again? Let me look at that. I love him but hate him. In order for her to say that, it's because she has not moved beyond the hurt.
She
has not let go. She's still holding on to it. And she needs to communicate that to her husband in order for her to move forward.
I'm not saying that there's no couple in this world that would laugh about a situation where one of them cheated. That's a serious business. That's a serious business in a relationship. You know what I mean? Serious business. But at the same time, you have to come to terms with it.
As for me,
if you're going to move forward as a couple, you have to come to terms with it. You have to say, okay, you know what? All right, you did what you did. It wasn't a good thing, but I value my love for you, and the love for my relationship is far more important. I'm going to forgive you. But when you do forgive, though, you can't be using things like I love you and I hate you.
Yeah.
You can't be using
it's either one or
situations
the other.
where whenever there's an argument, don't feel I forget what you did the other day.
No, those kind of things break relationships down.
Work, right? And in his mind, he might probably say, you know what, I'm sorry, but maybe because you didn't take the time to read him properly, you don't realize that he is truly sorry.
Yeah.
But you're thinking in your mind that he is not.
True.
And guess what? You know, you want to treat him a certain way. You don't want him to touch you that way anymore. You don't want him to do this. You don't things that you guys used to enjoy together.
It's all because the person has not gotten over what has taken place. As long as you get over it, then things like that don't happen.
But the thing is, though, there are people mature enough to say, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna forgive you, but you know what? It's gonna be hard. You know, it's gonna take time.
Yes.
It's gonna take. And once you put that out front, then and only then someone can say, okay, well, all right. When she does have her little breakdowns and throw things back at me, I understand that it's a part of the process, the healing process, but up front.
Yep.
When people, and I find that this is something that's not done often enough. When you have an issue that causes a problem in your relationship, before you move forward in terms of forgiveness, you have to discuss it and say, look, it's going to be hard for me because you know this is the type of person I am. I feel you really make me feel a certain way and da. But guess what? We're going to move forward.
Yeah.
But listen, just remember, I'm a human being, and you know I have a tendency, you know me. You know I have a tendency from one time to time to throw it back at you. It will come. But when it comes, you know it's just because of my frustration.
Just discuss it. That's what love is all about.
Just discuss it. Too much time
we misunderstand the word love.
We seek forgiveness, right, for things that we've done, but we don't want to invest the time to acknowledge the person that is supposed to be forgiving us when they falter. And a lot of times they will come as regurgitation. They throw things back at you when they get angry. They might do something, and in your mind you think, well, I see now I ain't doing nothing. I'm not cheating now. I'm going to work and come home, but you keep throwing this back in my face. In that person's mind, it make them feel like, you know, you're not acknowledging the fact that they have changed.
Yes, that's true.
So we need to check ourselves when it comes to these things every once in a while. Just about 2 minutes. We got about 2 minutes left. All right. So you want to do your final. Yeah, it's really flying. Time really flies. What would your final words be to the young lady?
I'd tell her to discuss how she's feeling now with her husband, and then they take it from there, because it doesn't make sense to be living with someone and then at the end of the day you're going to say you love but hate the person. It's either one or the other, and I think that what she's feeling now is unforgiveness. Basically, that's what is happening right there. And until she's able to forgive him for what he does, and as you say, talk about it, then it's not going to work.
Not going to work.
No.
All right. I believe that while we all, whenever we do something, we want society, we want our relationship partners, we want everybody to forgive us. But we have to make an effort to get that forgiveness.
Yes.
Right? I mean, to me, it sounds like a very good marriage. Up to now, she haven't mentioned anything else about any other issues. Right. This is one-time thing. And he said that he wanted to try something new. I think it's you owe it to yourself.
At least he was honest in,
saying that. Right. So you owe it to yourself to ask yourself, what was that something your husband was looking for?
That's it.
Right? And once you find out what it is, try to make it available to him.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, then he will always try to find something.
That's right.
And I mean that. I mean that every day you get up and you treat your relationship as if it's the first day of that relationship. You find time for your relationship.
Yeah.
You instead of giving your co-workers advice on their relationship.
Yeah.
And giving you
take it for yourself.
Take it for yourself.
Yes.
Make sure that your relationship is number one.
Exactly.
Make sure you give your priority. I'm not telling you to be a slave to it, but I'm also saying that you need to make that your priority. Yes. Prioritize your life. When you get home from work, instead of spending time on the phone, maybe just go jump on your husband and cuddle up with him. Pillow fight. Do something stupid. Do something silly.
I have a friend, he works miles away from home, and he doesn't come home until like every other weekend. Okay. That's how his job is. Right. And when he gets home, it's almost like he's not there for his wife. His wife just on her phone all the time. Right. Doesn't give him the only thing she'll do for him is cook, and that's it.
Disconnect.
Yes.
They've disconnected. They're just going through the motions. And a lot of us are in relationships that have been disconnected a very long time ago. And people seem like they don't care for reconnecting. They're connected to everything else.
Yes, but not the individual.
And the funny thing is, those people are the first to give you advice when you have issues.
That is true. That is true. That is so true. I have seen that over and over.
They don't have it all together, but they can tell you what to do to make your relationship better.
So why not go make yours better too?
We're out of time. We're out of time. I want to thank you very much, St. Lucia. Of course, it's that time of the day again. It's 12 noon in St. Lucia and the rest of the Eastern Caribbean. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon to the folks at home. We got to say bye.
Bye.
See you guys tomorrow, same place, same time. Man versus Woman will be back tomorrow. Have yourselves a wonderful afternoon.